The night they fired me, I didn't fight back. I packed my belongings into a cardboard box while whispers circled like vultures. But no one in that office knew the truth. What I kept hidden was that the company letting me go still cut me a check every single month. Silent contract. Shareholding deal. My stake in their future was bigger than any job title they thought they stripped away from me. I owned more of them than they owned of me. But I stayed quiet. Sometimes silence cuts sharper than rage. I drove home with that box of useless papers, expecting comfort. Instead, I walked into chaos. My father, Victor, stood in the living room. His face was red, fists clenched. "Pack your bags," he barked. "Failures don't belong under my roof." He didn't even ask what happened. No questions. Just judgment as always. And then came the knife in my back. My husband, Ethan, stepped out of the kitchen. He wasn't alone. A woman followed him, adjusting her lipstick like she already belonged there. He looked at me, smirked, and spit on the floor between us. "You're done. With me. With this life." I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I just carried my box upstairs one step at a time while they laughed behind me. That night, as I zipped my suitcase, I thought about all the years I had believed in them. My father, the man who taught me that love was conditional, that respect had to be earned through perfection. My husband, the boy who once swore the world would collapse without me by his side. But loyalty only matters when it's tested. And theirs had failed. I walked out without a word. They thought they had broken me. But I had secrets. The beach house was the first, tucked away on the coast in my name alone. A sanctuary no one knew about. The second secret was the company. Years earlier, I had quietly invested in shares, signed silent partnerships, collected equity deals. I played the fool well, letting them believe I was disposable. But the truth, I was untouchable. They thought I was broke. In reality, I was richer than all of them combined. That night wasn't my end. It was my beginning. Revenge isn't rage. Revenge is patience. I let Ethan flaunt his new woman around town. I let Victor boast about kicking me out. I let the city whisper that I'd hit rock bottom. And while they laughed, I built. The beach house became a business, rented to high-profile clients, money flowing like a tide. With that profit, I bought another property under a shell name. Then another. Quietly, silently, my empire spread like roots under the ground. Meanwhile, Victor's business began to crumble. He'd leveraged too much, borrowed too high. He was drowning in his own arrogance. I could have saved him. But I didn't. Instead, I bought his debts piece by piece until the bank answered to me. Not him. Ethan, on the other hand, burned through money faster than he earned it. Lavish dinners. Vacations he couldn't afford. I fed the fire. Through hidden hands, I extended him credit, knowing the fall would be harder. The deeper he sank, the sweeter it became. 2 years later, Victor showed up at my office without warning. Not the old home office he remembered, no. A glass tower downtown. My name carved into the marble of the lobby. He looked smaller than I remembered. "Hello." Defeated. "I need help," he said, his voice cracking. "The bank owns everything." I leaned back in my chair, calm, collected. "No," I corrected softly. "I own everything." He froze. Confusion turned to realization. His empire was gone, and the daughter he'd thrown away had been signing his checks for months. I didn't yell. I didn't gloat. I just let silence sink its claws in. That silence broke him more than words ever could. Ethan came next. He found me at a charity gala. His hair was grayer, his face bloated, his smile gone. The woman he'd left me for. Long gone. "Please," he whispered, grabbing my wrist. "I made a mistake." I smiled, slow and deliberate. "No," I said. "You made several." He didn't know that the repossession of his car, the foreclosure of his condo, the endless credit calls, every piece of his misery, had been orchestrated by me. Step by step, I dismantled the life he thought he'd built on my ashes. I leaned close enough for only him to hear. Do you remember spitting on me, the night you brought her into my home? He swallowed hard. His eyes darted around the room, shame flooding in as whispers spread through the crowd. I left him standing there, humiliated, while his reputation burned. The sweetest part of revenge isn't the destruction. It's the revelation. It's watching them finally realize who I am, what I've become, what they threw away. Victor lives in a rented apartment now. Every time he walks through the city, he sees my name on the buildings towering above him. Ethan drowns in debts he'll never repay. Every time his phone rings, he wonders if it's another creditor, or another reminder that I am still pulling the strings. And me. I sit on the balcony of my beach house, a glass of wine in hand, my son's laughter echoing against the waves. Because yes, I left with nothing that night. But I also took the only thing that mattered. My child, my future. Do I regret it? Not for a second. The night I lost my job, my home, and my marriage, they thought it was my end. But endings are just beginnings in disguise.